Hi everyone! Today I'm making a new olive oil soap base, and this was the first batch. You can see the color is just a little bit different than the second batch. Well, I did use organic extra virgin olive oil in this one, and then I ran out, so I just got one from the grocery store to do my adjustment. Everything's just fine about it. But it had some glycerin due, so I wanted to go back to the drawing board. So I made some adjustments. This one did not sweat for me. This one is also like really firm. Just using my hand strength, I'm gonna just show you. You know, I can do that to it, but you know, that's squishing it pretty hard. But this one, it's harder for me to do. I can just, you know, I can squish it a little bit if I really try, but it's really a lot firmer. And after I melted it down and formed it in a Milky Way mold, the Lighthouse one, this came out and it did not sweat and it came out easily, and I just really like the properties of it. This is my clear soap that I made a couple years ago now, so you can kind of see. I mean, you can see that it's clear. If you want to see that video and how to make that soap, then go check out my other video. I'll link that for you. And just real quick, I want to show you how this olive oil one is lathering up. So there you go. It's detergent free. Yay! And it lathers up like this. A crock pot. I have a couple of containers here for weighing, measuring, microwaving and stuff. I'm using a silicone spatula that's heat safe to 450 degrees. And goggles, gloves, infrared thermometer, scale that measures weight. It doesn't matter which grade of olive oil you use. If you use pure, refined, organic, virgin, whatever, pomace, it doesn't matter. Use whichever one is the grade that you prefer. So, an olive oil, some sodium hydroxide, propylene glycol, stearic acid, sorbitol 70% solution. I don't know if you can see back here. Can you see back here? Lauric acid, vegetable glycerin, distilled water. Those are all the things that you need. So now, let's get started. All the measurements are in the video description. That's the About tab. So you have the recipe there, the whole formula is there for you. Plus, I will put information about the suppliers and things like that where you can get some of these unusual ingredients that you might not be able to just find in a local store. First step is to put on your safety goggles and your glove, make your lye solution, add your sodium hydroxide to your water, not your water to your sodium hydroxide, and don't use anything aluminum. You can use your silicone spatula or you can use like a stainless steel whisk. And go ahead and mix it up. Keep mixing this solution. It will go cloudy, it will get hot, it will make fumes, don't breathe them in. And keep mixing it up until it's fully dissolved. It will look clear when you're finished. Next, weigh your lauric acid and your stearic acid right into your bowl. Now go bring this container of fatty acids to your microwave and heat it up, or just put it right on the crock pot, put the lid on, and wait for a long, long time until it melts by itself. Now that this is melted, this container is quite hot, so be careful. I'm gonna plug in my crock pot and set it in there. So I'm measuring out my olive oil. Add my olive oil in with my fatty acids, which are now melted in the crock pot. And my lye solution is mixed, so I'm just going to add this in. And you can see that it really saponifies super, super fast. So I'm going to do it gradually and just hand mix it so that it doesn't get stuck on the bottom or on the sides. So at first it's hard to mix, and then it starts to get like mashed potato-y and kind of softer, and that's kind of what you want. So now you have a pot of sodium olivate, sodium stearate, and sodium laurate, which are just 3 different kinds of soap. And yep, starting to smell pretty soapy in here. I'm gonna cover it up for about 5 to 10 minutes and cook this, and then we'll come back. The next part, nice mashed potato kind of stuff. So then we're just gonna add the remaining ingredients. Okay, this is the propylene glycol. Now this is the sorbitol and the glycerin, vegetable glycerin. Try to get it mixed up and break it up as much as you can so that all of your soap chunks are kind of in small pieces. So now I'm just going to cover this up, and I'm going to cook it for about an hour or until everything is mixed together and dissolved. You'll see what that looks like in just a minute. Sometimes there's a little stubborn bit that won't, so instead of cooking it and cooking it and cooking it, which I have come to the conclusion causes some discoloration, I just kind of strain it out. So you'll see when we get there. So cook it for about an hour. See ya! So this has been going for an hour approximately, and you can see that it looks like it's about 98 or 99% dissolved, and I don't want to wait any longer, so at this point I have a little tea strainer. So I just like to pour it through the tea strainer and into my mold. This is some alcohol just to get those bubbles off the top. And then I will just let it cool down to room temperature, and then we can remove it and see what it looks like. So I let this sit overnight just to get to room temperature, and you can see over here there's a little soap icicle. So that's pretty neat. Okay, so let's unmold this. Okay, so here is the soap. You can see the color of it and stuff. Go ahead and give this a cut. Oops, I should have cleaned off that wire. I got a little bit of CP soap on those wires. Okay, so you can see what the inside looks like. And what I actually like to do is to cure the soap for a while. I know that a lot of times they say, like, when you're doing melt and pour soap, to wrap it right away, and I think that's fine for after you remelt it, but I think when you fresh make it, from what I've learned, is that if you cure it just like a cold process or a hot process soap, I find the result is just a little bit better because you have less of that just moisture in there. But I'll go ahead and give these a melt down to show you that they work. So I'll grab a little thing, and when I pulse them in the microwave, I just like to give it little pulses, like 30 seconds or less at a time, depending on how much I'm doing, and then let it melt down gradually. So I'll go grab a mold and a container and stuff that we need for that. This is the batch that I just made. This batch over here was the first one of the same exact formula, so you can see that they turned out pretty much exactly the same, except for that this one was wire cut and this one was knife cut, so you can see the difference in how it looks there, because the wires kind of made more of a indent than the knife did. But otherwise, they're the exact same thing. This one feels a lot firmer just because it's had more time. So I'll remelt this one, and then I'll also remelt this one. Okay, so I'm going to put one of the old ones in here, and for the old, we will use this rectangle. And then for the new batch, we will put in here, and we'll use this circle. So circle new, rectangle old. Okay, so new goes in the clear, and the old will go in this one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, melt! So now I have these two, and I'm stirring them so that this little film, it took about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and I haven't added fragrance before, but I'm just adding just a tiny bit to these, just to try these two and see what they smell like. And just to see what happens when I add a fragrance into the soap. One of these smells really good. The other one I don't like as much. So. Okay. And this one's starting to get the film on it, so this, you have to stir this continuously. And up. When these harden up, I'll come back, and I did spill some, but oh well. So we are back. We'll do this one first. This one had some bubbles because I didn't spray it in time, so I'll try to get it out of this mold. There we go. There's that one, and we'll get this circle one. It's coming out. There we go. There's this circle one. Okay. I can definitely tell right off the bat that I like the texture of the one that's been cured better. So I would definitely recommend maybe give your soap base a 1-month cure first before you're gonna do it for best results. And it even seems like the back just is smoother. I know it has bubbles because I didn't spray it in time, but I mean the other stuff. I mean just in general it looks smoother. So I have to say that, and this in here is just a little piece of cold process soap that just fell in, so don't pay any mind to that. That's not really any big deal. But the soaps are working really well. This one that has been cured seems to work better. It seems to melt down a little bit slower, but more steady. And then it also seems to kind of set up a little bit firmer. So I think that that is kind of something I've learned as I've been making the melt and pour soaps from scratch. But then when you remelt them, you can package them right away. So you remelt this. This could be wrapped in plastic right away, but I'm actually going to go use these. So since they're just kind of a little experiment soap. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make olive oil soap base from scratch. And you can make it detergent free, and it has a great lather, just like I showed you earlier in the video. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, bye-bye.